All right, subtraction with borrowing, next level up. It's going to get exciting in this video. At the start, as always, we've got our nice neat columns, ones place, tens place, all that stuff. And we see in our ones place, we're trying to do 5 minus 7, that's not going to work. So standard process, we're going to do our borrowing. We're going to go over to the 3, we're going to steal 1 from the 3, steal 10 essentially, right, because that's in the tens place. We're going to make that a 2, and we're going to give that 10 to the 5, so now we've got 15, okay? Now, we could do 15 minus 7, that's totally fine, but when we got to the 2 minus 4, we would have an issue, right? Because 2 minus 4, it's like the same thing again. You can't subtract 4 from 2, right? Again, negatives, that's not what this is about, subtraction with borrowing. Okay, so then what happens? Well, it turns out we're going to do the exact same process, right? We're not going to panic, we're not going to totally implode, we're going to do the exact same process, but it's just shifted over a little bit. So, then in this case, this is essentially in the tens column. Remember, this is like saying you have 20 minus 40, because we're in the tens column. But 20 is not enough to subtract the 40, okay? So we're going to go over into our hundreds column, and we're going to steal 100 from over there. So this 6 becomes a 5. Now there's 5 hundreds over there. And that extra 100, that 1 essentially, is going to go into here. Now we have 12 tens, which is 120, right? So 12 in the tens column, and we can do 12 minus 4. If any of the number sense here isn't making sense to you, that's something that we're going to want to work on, right? But also try to focus on the mechanics in this case. The mechanics are really what's going to help you for a little while. The number sense comes. Trust me, it comes. You do this stuff often enough and you start to see these relationships between the numbers, yeah? At some point, you see the numbers 3 and 4 and you just automatically think of 7 and 12, okay? Like that kind of stuff, it just like resonates. It comes out in your brain. But if you're not there yet, focus on the mechanics first, okay? So we're stealing from the next place over. We're going to steal 1 and we give it to this place. In this case, we did 2 rounds of borrowing, right? Or we stole twice. So at this point, now we can subtract everything that is there. 15 minus 7 is 8. 12 minus 4, also 8. And then we've got our 5 there. Final answer, 588. Yeah? Let's do another practice problem. We've got 547 minus 88. 7 is smaller than 8, so it's not going to work, right? So we're going to go through our whole process. We go to the 4, we steal 1. So the 4 becomes a 3. The 7 becomes a 17. And then we see that over here, all right, that 3 is not going to work. We can't do 3 minus 8. So we are going to go into the next place over. We steal 1, and we give it to that 3. So this becomes a 4, that becomes a 13. Keep in mind that when you are writing these steps on your paper, I don't want you writing all of these little tiny numbers like kind of all over the place, willy-nilly over here and in the middle and kind of over there and stuff. It needs to stay in these nice, neat columns, right? This is how you're going to know that the 13 is in the tens column. 17 now is in the ones column. That's how you're going to know all this stuff. It gets really complicated. As you can see, it already looks kind of crazy. So don't make it harder than it has to be. Keep yourself with nice, neat columns, and you're going to have a much happier time. From here, we can then do 17 minus 8 is 9, 13 minus 8 is 5, and 4 minus, well, nothing, is just 4. All right, one last example. Let's check it out. 3 minus 2. So we go to there and we say, okay, well, I can actually do that, right? I mean, 3 minus 2 is just 1. So, like, okay. Didn't have to do borrowing. You don't always have to do borrowing, right? 8 minus 5, you don't have to borrow for that. 8 minus 5 is just 3. So sometimes we don't need borrowing. Don't get yourself into this weird mindset where you're like, oh, I always have to borrow no matter what. Don't do that. Okay, so in this case, we didn't even need borrowing there, but we get over here and we see 5 minus 7. Well, that's not going to work out, right? We got to do our borrowing and so that we can make this happen. So we go over to our 9. We are going to steal 1 from the 9, give it to that 5. Fairly simple, yeah? 15 minus 7, there we go. And then 8 minus, well, nothing. That's going to be 881 as a final answer there. So we don't always do borrowing twice. Sometimes we do. That's what we're going to practice in the next couple of questions. Get ready, get set, go.